Hello and welcome back to day 3 of CADvent 2024. 24 days of designing festive items in Autodesk Fusion. My name is Elizabeth Bishop and you can find me on my social media accounts at 3dbish. So let's jump into Fusion where we will be designing a dual colour candy cane for those of you who still have single colour 3D printers. So getting started, I'm going to start with creating a sketch. Now this design is such that you can print a dual colour candy cane in 2 separate parts using 2 different colour materials, and then it will snap together to create a nicely dual coloured candy cane. So starting off with a sketch on one of the planes, I'm going to start off with a straight line, bringing this up, and we are first creating the basic outline of the candy cane. So a straight line first, I'm then going to add a 3-point arc. So bringing that across and jumping that up. And what you want that to do is to snap to the tangent constraint. If it doesn't, you can use the tangent constraint in the toolbar, select the circle and your line. And then going to add a short line down here, making sure that one doesn't snap to any constraints. I'm going to add a dimension to my arc here of 20 millimeters. I also want to add a dimension to this line. So I need to think about the overall size of my candy cane. So I don't want this to be more than 100 mil big for my printer. So what I'm going to do is a dimension of 75 millimeters there, which will mean my overall height is 95 millimeters. I then want to add a dimension from this point to this point of 5 millimeters, and then from here to here an angle of 5 degrees. Finally, I want to add an extra tangent constraint from here to here just to round that off. And then we can see we have a fully defined sketch here. So finishing that sketch, this is going to be the basis for our candy cane shape. Creating a second sketch on the end point of here, I'm going to draw a circle of diameter 10 millimeters, and this is going to be used to create the profile of the candy cane. And to do that, I'm going to use the sweep tool. So create and sweep, and I want to select that profile along this path here. And clicking OK. And you can see now we're starting to create that candy cane shape. Now, if you've only got one color for your 3D printer, you could go ahead and 3D print this as one solid color. However, I'll show you how to create this into a nice dual color print that you can do. So the next thing I'm going to do is add a second sketch on that surface, and this one is going to be a straight line. So lining that up in the center, bringing that down here, and I'm going to dimension that at 20 millimeters. I'm going to add a midpoint constraint, that's that triangle, of this line and the origin there. And you can see that snaps and creates a fully defined sketch. Finishing that, I'm going to jump from the solid working to the surface working. And this time with a sweep, I'm going to grab that single line and turn back on my very first sketch for the profile. And you can see that's cut the candy cane in half. Now this time I want to add a twist angle. So you can see here we've added a twist angle of 600 degrees. The more angles you add, the higher the number you do, the more twists it will have in your candy cane. I've chosen 600 because this will give us a nice profile from which we can print, which I'll come on to in a moment. At the moment, we've still only got those 2 bodies, the surface and the original one. So we need to go back to the solid working space, modify, and then use split body. I'm going to select that first body, and my splitting tool is that surface that I've just used there with the twists in. And we can see now we've got 3 bodies. Our 2 parts making up the candy cane and the surface model that we used to cut it. I'm going to apply some appearances to make it a little bit easier to work with. So A on the keyboard is the shortcut for appearance. I want a nice red, a red and white candy cane. So I think a red, let's do red plastic glossy. For one of those, I'll add that to body 1. And then I want a white. So just typing in white to search for the whites. And again, I will choose a plastic white, I think. Plastic white glossy and drop that on there. And you can see now we're starting to look much more like a candy cane. We can see that there. Now I'm going to show you some tips to make this 3D printable. You might be thinking, how on earth can we print this weird and wacky shape, and how is it going to work? So what we're going to do is to create a offset plane. So construct offset plane, and that's from this very top surface here. And we're going to bring this down here. If I do the side view, you'll see this. And what I want to do is a 99mm offset. I'm then going to use the split body tool again. So this time I want to select both bodies to split, and my splitting tool is going to be this offset plane that I have created. And if we zoom in very carefully, you'll see this kind of oval shape here. So clicking OK, we can see we've now got some extra bodies. So if I just hide these two here, this has created a very small flat. Now we can 3D print these two parts separately from this very small flat and then twist them together to snap. So all that's left to do is to export your STL files, pop them in your desired slicer for your 3D printer, add your material and 3D print them. If you've got any questions, please do pop them in the comments below. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know what you want me to do in the rest of CADvent 2024. I'll see you in the next video.